Hey guys, I was just doing my hair and I thought I would talk. Um, I really don't have nothing to talk about. I've just been trying to take care of my mental health and take care of my kids, my family and stuff like that. But today, what I'm using is I shampooed my hair yesterday, and the conditioner that I used was where is the conditioner? This is, this is the conditioner that I used yesterday and I rinsed it out this morning. I know that's not a good idea, but I had things to do. And then today, when I rinsed that conditioner out, I used this conditioner right here. And then after I rinsed that out, I went in with this leave in. I've used this before, I kind of like it. And right now, what I'm doing is just detangling my hair so I can let it dry a little bit and then blow dry it. But yeah, other than that, that's all that's been going on. Trying to take care of my mental health. Like once I turned 50 and I went through menopause, something changed in me. Something I don't know, where it was very important to start taking care of my mental health. It's like a lot of things I couldn't take, and that was affecting my memory. I mean, my memory is still affected. Like my short term memory is crap. Like we could be in mid conversation, and I'll stand there and forget what we were talking about. I need to go get checked, but I'm kind of afraid that they're gonna tell me I have beginning stages of dementia or something like that. I watched my great grandmother go through it, and things like that has always scared me. So I think I told you that before. But yeah, but today all I'm doing today is cleaning up my house as much as I can. Um, Cooking, feeding my kids, hanging out with my kids because it's summer and I need to hang out with them. And the truth is, sometimes that's a struggle because all I want to do is kind of shut down, and you can't do that with kids. And yeah, but I'll come back and let you see what I do to my hair. Right now, all I'm doing is just detangling it and twisting it up. I know I say a lot. I'm sorry. I have to think. I have to pull my thoughts out of my head. So yeah, I say a lot. And if you were around me, one thing my husband hates is I say huh. And sometimes I hear you when I say huh, but I think that comes from growing up. I had my great grandmother. She was born in 1899. I was born in 1971. So she is the person that raised me. And she had this way of speaking sometimes. It was hard for me to understand as a little kid. And I used to always be like, huh? Huh? And then I would process it, and then I'm like, oh, that's what she said. And she would get upset with me too. But the truth is, I could not understand what she was saying. But, I love my great grandmother. At the time, I couldn't appreciate her and everything because I was getting butt whippings at the time. But when I look back on it and stuff like that, some of those whippings were justified. I mean, that was the time. I mean, I don't think she did it to be mean or nothing like that. Now, sometimes it probably was out of frustration, but you know, I have accepted that that's just the way it was. Now, when her daughter, who is actually my grandmother, moved in, she was a different beast. She was an alcoholic, so when she came at you, I knew it was pure frustration, um, and um, lack of emotional intelligence and stuff. I didn't know that at the time, but I knew something went right, and yeah. So I don't know why I got on that, but that's why I think sometimes my mental health was affected by that, and I struggled most of my life with that, among other things that happened. But yeah, I don't mean to go on a rant about crazy stuff, but yeah, I'll forget things. I'll forget things. I got some omega threes downstairs. My best friend was telling me to take them because she take them and she said it helped with her memory, but I forget to take them. I forgot that I got 'em. But yeah, I know I'm rambling, but I want to put something up. And sometimes my family members and my friends look at this too, and because I don't live in my hometown anymore, they get to see me. Hey y'all. Yeah. I wish I could move back home to my, well, at least close to my hometown and my family and my friends and stuff like that. Because as a mother with children and stuff like that, I know I'm an old mother, but I miss that village helping me raise my children because I really needed it. I suffered a lot as a mother. And my husband, the truth is, we had a lot of problems because he didn't know how to help me and I didn't understand um, where he was coming from and stuff. But yeah, that's another video. That's another video. I see these videos about traditional wives and all that kind of stuff. I've always wanted to be a traditional wife. But that don't mean that don't come with sacrifice, because it does come with sacrifice. Because you give up a lot of yourself. But it is a way to kind of balance it. But you and your partner have to be on the same page. If you and your partner is not on the same page, girl, you gonna suffer. Unless you very strong and you got other people. You know what I'm saying? You got like your mother who is a good person. You got your father that is a good person. You got siblings that support you. You got friends that support you. You know, I didn't have any of that because for one thing, I said it was another video, but I guess we're going to get into it right now. For one thing, I don't blame my husband for nothing. I mean, when I was younger, maybe I did. But now that I'm 53, I don't blame. Look at this. Look how thin that's getting back there. That is my back part. And that's thinning out a lot. But, you know, we're going to work with it until it all fall out. And when it all fall out, we're going to shave it. But I don't blame him, like I said, because he was young. I was young. And I never could figure out what was going on with us. And it was because we both came from situations of trauma. Um, I was traumatized where when I came out, I just wanted to be with somebody in an all-consuming relationship with affection and all that kind of stuff. And my husband was more of a self, um, basically he wanted to be married, but he didn't know how to like pull me into it. And so because he never did that, like I suffered a lot from that. And he did too. Don't get me wrong, he suffered because he couldn't give me that. I couldn't give him what he needed because it's a balance. It's a balance. But yeah. But I don't know why I told you that. I guess if anybody young got there looking to get married and stuff, make sure this for men and women, guys and girls. No matter what type of relationship you in, heterosexual or a same-sex relationship and all that kind of stuff, make sure the person that you're gonna marry, make sure they get you. That's important. Make sure they get you. Make sure all those little things about you that they get, because those things are very important. That is a part of you. I mean, like if you got some crazy going on, you might need to work with that with a therapist. But like like me, the truth is, when me and my husband first got together, and I was why I'm on this, but let's talk about it. Um, I was when me and my husband first met, I had just turned 20. We met in July and I had turned 20 in May. But before him, I was in bad relationships. And he was like, bad relationship? You was only 20. But because of my childhood, and when my great grandmother got sick, she got sick when I was 12. And my grandmother, she moved in, which is my mother's mother. And the reason why I was living with my great grandmother, because my mother died when I was 4 months old. And don't ask me where the daddy was. Please don't ask me where he was at. Because my mother was a 17-year-old. And it was bad, yeah. It was bad for her because her mother wasn't a good mother. That's my grandma, who I'm going to talk about in a minute. Wasn't a good mother. And I'm not saying she wasn't a good mother because she didn't want to be a good mother. I'm saying whatever her demons was, that it kept her from being a good mother. And so my mom before me, she had me when she was 17. And before me, I was told she had another baby that was stillborn. So just imagine a 16-year-old having a stillborn baby. She dating guys who probably wasn't really into her. She was young, pretty. They just wanted what they wanted. And she didn't understand it because she never had people to teach her that. She never had people in her life where she can see to even at least mimic, you know, proper ways to be in relationships. But anyway, she was 17. She had me. And I was born in May. She died in late September. And yeah, I don't want to go into all that, but that's what happened. And my daddy still need a DNA test on him, but just left. So I was left there with my great grandmother, and she wasn't giving me up. When I was a baby, other family members wanted me. At least that's what I heard. Cause everybody want a baby, don't they? Everybody want a baby. You become a teenager, no, nobody want that. Um, yeah. Um, and that's sad though, cause teenagers are worth taken care of. But anyway, yeah, and that's what happened with that. I don't know, cause I'll lose my train of thought. I'm so sorry. I'm telling you, in mid, mm, mm, in mid conversation, I lose my train of thought. But yeah, but anyway, I was in that type of family where I was left with a lady that our generations had no way of connecting at all. I mean, because I needed buffers in between that. And I didn't know how to be with her because I was a child and I don't know. My great grandmother, I mean, like I said, I don't blame her because I understand now she was old. She was old. Okay. But when they left me there with her. Like sometimes my aunt would be there with her children, but for the most part, it was me and my great grandmother there alone. And I don't even remember us having conversations or nothing like that talked about. Now, I'd be like, can I get me something to eat? Things like that. Can I go outside? Things like that. It's her telling me, go take a bath, clean up my room, little stuff like that, fussing at me, because she did a lot of fussing. Because I was like a little deer in the headlight most of the time when I was a child because I didn't understand what to do. But anyway, and I spent a lot of time alone. My aunt and her kids wasn't living with us because I had an aunt that was, she was kind of dysregulated or whatever, however you want to say that. But anyway, and and so sometimes she couldn't keep a place, so sometimes she ended back over there with us, and which I enjoyed because my cousins would come. They were all boys. One was my age, and two were like 4 and 3 years younger than me, 3 and 4 years younger than me. Um, but yeah, I would enjoy that. And then when they would leave, I would be, I would feel abandoned and feel alone. But anyway, that was what was going on with me, and then I had to process the fact that I didn't have a mother or a father. And I processed a lot of that alone, like questioning God, the universe, whatever you want to call it. Why was I left alone like this? Why didn't nobody, why didn't I have nobody to love me? And stuff like that. And I don't want to get into the crying part because I'm trying to get past that. But not trying to like hold it in or nothing like that, because believe me, I don't cry. I don't cry with my therapist. I don't cry with my friends, my husband, all that kind of stuff alone. I've cried that out. Um, but anyway, I'm saying all that to say this, that when me and my husband met, I was a kind of a basket case because when my grandma moved, okay, my great grandmama got sick when I was 12. Then her daughter, which is my grandmother, moved in, and my grandmother was a alcoholic. I called my grandmother by her name, which I called her by her name my whole life. And some reason, after she moved in, she wanted me to call her grandmother, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't call her grandmother or grandmama because that's what everybody called grandmama. And I couldn't call her that. I couldn't call her mama. I couldn't call her grandmama. I could only call her by her name because that's how I knew her, by her name. But I remember her slapping me, and because I couldn't say it. Oh no, I should have said it, but I couldn't say it because it didn't feel right, and I didn't understand why she was so aggressive towards me because of that. Because my whole life, like when I went over her house to spend a night, she came by and stuff like that. It was always by her first name, and maybe that bothered her, but she set that up. She set that up. None of her children call her mama, other than my uncle and aunt that were her last two. They did, but her first three, they did not. They call her by her first name, and those are the people who I kind of grew up with. Well, no, it wasn't, because my uncle lived in Detroit and my mom was dead, and it was just that one aunt. But she called her by her name because they didn't have a good relationship anyway. And she called my great grandmama mama. That's who I call mama, was my great grandmama. But anyway, so my grandma moved in, and she was just a different breed. And so yeah, she moved in, and just the cussing, and because when I was 12, I started my period too. And just the cussing, the making you not feel loved, and it was crazy. It was crazy. Um, I remember being on my period and stuff like that. Being on my period and stuff like that, and my grandma did not like, the sanitary napkins in the house garbage can. So when you took a bath, you had to put your pajamas on. Like, you couldn't put your dirty clothes back on. You couldn't put them back on. But you put your dirty clothes back on after you took a bath, she was gonna have a fit. So, so I put my pajamas on, but you couldn't go outside in your pajamas. But you know what I probably should have did? I probably should have said, call her by her name, because I don't want to say her name, but call her by her name and say, what do I do with this? But I was afraid of her. So I didn't even, if I didn't have to talk to her, I did not talk to her. And and so what I would do was go in the kitchen and stuff it all the way down, and you have to wrap it up in toilet paper, and then you wrap it up in something else like newspaper. Back in the day, we had newspaper. You wrap it in toilet paper first, then you wrap it in newspaper, and then I stuck it all the way down in the garbage in the kitchen. Like 15 minutes later, she calling me downstairs, going off about that, saying that should have been outside. But those were things like that. Like, it was like psychological things that you couldn't wrap your head around. And it was more than psychological, because she was actually physically abusive. Like, not just whooping you with like a switch or something like that, or even a belt. Um, I remember her hitting me with an extension cord. I remember her, I got a scar on my face to this day. It's kind of done faded into the background a little bit. I have to search for it these days. And then up under my neck, I had some little scars, up under my neck that she left, because when she would get upset with you, she would grab you with her fingernails and stuff like that. And one time she caught me in the face and scratched me right here. Then another time she caught me up under my neck and put a scratch up under there. And sometimes I felt like I could see some remorse for that, but it was never I'm sorry, or you know, your ass got on my nerves, but I didn't mean to do that. But you know what I'm saying? Because I could have accepted that. Um, but it was never anything like that. And the one thing I realized about like trying to break generational curses and stuff like that is it ain't about being perfect. It's about being able to self-evaluate, and if you did something wrong, it's okay to tell your kid that you're sorry, and because you're not perfect. And but yeah, and so she yeah, she was like that. She moved in when I was 12, and by the time I was 15, I was done with her because I just could not. We weren't bonding. We weren't bonding. And then I had her daughter that was 2 years older than me, which is my aunt, and we had kind of a good relationship, but she was always kind of volatile too. So you kind of had to tiptoe around her. Like but back before my grandma moved in with us, my aunt, she would come over and spend the night with us because, like I said, she only 2 years older than me. She was one of those late babies. My family have late babies. That's why I got 11-year-old now, and I'm 53. But anyway, yeah, when she would come over, we had to like kind of tiptoe around her because if you weren't doing what she said, she could kind of get like a little aggressive. But anyway, because so when my grandmama moved in, my aunt moved in with her, and her son moved in with us. And so by the time I got 15, it was just too much. It was a lot. I could not bond with her. I was always walking on eggshells. For those 3 years, I walked on eggshells around her because I didn't know what she wanted from me. I didn't know how to be with her. And I remember used to always, when she was kind of calm, I would try to go and hug her. Like if I was leaving, I would hug her and be like, I love you. Trying to get her to feel something for me. And yeah. And I'm not saying she didn't. I'm not saying she didn't. Because she was my grandma. I think she loved me. Hold on. Okay. Sorry about that. Oh, this is how my hair gonna look until it dry a little bit. And then I'm gonna blow dry it. Oh, I ain't finished this piece back here. But yeah, I think she loved me, but she just had a fucked up way of showing it. But anyway, because I look back now, like during that time, I didn't think she loved me. No, I wasn't thinking, I think she loved me. I was like, that lady, I think she hate me. Why do she hate me? And I felt like what it was too, going to this. I feel like what it was too was, I've been talking for a long time, but we ain't going to try to make this over 30 minutes. We'll just do 30 minutes and just leave it like that. Okay. And maybe I'll put a picture on it. The truth is, these might be some twists that I might keep, and I might put them back in a ponytail and put a headband on. But if I do straighten it out, I'll put a picture at the end. But if I don't put a picture at the end, that means I didn't straighten it. I just left the twist in it. I just left the twist in it. But yeah. But anyway, where I'm trying to go on with that, I don't know. Where was I saying? I know this brush does seem like it's hard, but it's not. It's just this gray. Even though this looks brown, but the truth, this is gray hair. It's just colored. It's gray hair, and it's kind of wiry. But it's okay. Thank God for products. But what I'm trying to say. Okay. Yeah, she moved in with when I was 12. By the time I was 15, this how volatile my grandma. I'll tell you this story about her. When I was probably 14, the year I turned 15, but I was still 14, I think. Yeah, I think. But anyway, she was drunk. And this man that walked in our neighborhood, this was this man, he always walked in our neighborhood. He was a type of guy, he would run errands for people. He was an old man. He would run errands for people. And then this one lady that lived across from her, he just used to go over her house and sit sometimes. And sometimes my grandma would go over there and sit sometimes because people did that in the evenings, go on people's porches and sit. But anyway, I don't know why her and this man had problems. But anyway, I remember one time she had been drinking and she had just came from over the lady's house and the man had too. And I remember her coming in the house and mumbling something. And I remember him passing our house. And he was yelling back at the lady whose house he had just came from. And my grandma just took it as he said something disrespectful to her. But he didn't because I heard him. But I wasn't ready to tell her that. I'm one finna come in between her and him because she was gonna take it out on me. So I'm like, you an adult, you can handle her. But anyway, make a long story short, she got into it with this man, and and she started to fight. And my grandma was in her 50s then, and yeah, she was always volatile, and she started to fight this man. And me and my aunt, the one that's 2 years older than me, we was right there, and she was like telling us to get him. And I'm like, but this man ain't did. In my head, I'm thinking, this man ain't done nothing. But I did have a stick in my hand. I'm just gonna be honest. I had a stick in my hand, but I could not hit that man with that stick. I had like a broom that went like a stick, but it wasn't the same thing. But I could not hit that man because he didn't do nothing. My grandma just crazy. Um, and somehow he knocked her on the ground, and she was laying on the ground. But you know, back in the day, people carried pocket knives everywhere. They didn't get kids pocket knives. I had a pocket knife. My aunt Sandy had a pocket knife. I didn't carry my pocket knife like that because I don't know. I just went into weapons now. I'm into weapons now because niggas crazy. But anyway, I ain't talking about like black people. I'm just talking about niggas in general. No matter what color you are, they crazy. But anyway, so where am I at? So yeah, she had a little pocket knife on her. And so she started like stabbing him on the legs and stuff like that. I don't know if she caught his package or not, but she was doing that type of stuff. And then the next thing you know, police came. She went to jail. She went to court, and they gave her like a sentence of 6 months because my grandma, like I told you, she had been in trouble before, and she had never done no jail time, but she had been in trouble because she done shot somebody, whether it was self-defense or not, I don't know. She done stabbed somebody else, and well, this one guy she stabbed, he deserved it. I'm just gonna be honest, cause it was my aunt's husband. I had another aunt, my mama baby sister. She was married to this man. She never met my aunt, my mama's baby sister. She never had a chance. She never had a chance. But anyway, um, um, she stabbed at him because he hit her daughter, and she stabbed him in the arm. He deserved it. But anyway, that was still, part of her record. But then this right here, she ended up getting 6 months in like a workhouse type jail. And even though she didn't do no work. But yeah. And when they said 6 months, I was so happy. But how our house was going to be ran while she was gone was, I had an uncle that lived there, that he was older. He was like 18, 19, maybe 20. I don't know. Yeah, maybe 20. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Can't remember. And then the aunt that was 2 years older than me, she moved in. I want to say was I in the 8th grade or the 9th grade? I can't remember. 8th grade or the 9th grade. I could have been in the 8th grade. So if I was in the 8th grade, no, I wasn't. I was in the 9th grade. I was in the ninth grade. I was in ninth grade. Um, yeah, I was in ninth grade. And so my aunt, if I was 14, she was 16. And then if she was 16, I think he might be 5 years older than her. So he might have been 21. But anyway, he was there. So, and then my great grandma was there because you remember my great grandmama had dementia. She was still there in the household. And that was a big part of me not want to leave, run away, do all that kind of stuff because I didn't want to leave my great grandmama behind. Because the truth is, my grandmother, she was not nice to my great grandmother. She wasn't. I don't know if they had history from her childhood. I don't know. I remember her telling my great grandma one time she was the reason why her father was dead, and I don't think she meant that my great grandma killed her husband. She just meant maybe he stressed or something. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, she didn't treat my great grandmama that well. But anyway, but it came a time when I had to leave. I couldn't take it no more. Um, I couldn't take it no more, and I had to leave. And I'm sorry for the. I am sorry. You don't realize that I am, but I got to get this out. And I had to leave. I was 15 when I left home. First of all, when I left home, what happened was the aunt that who lived with us, that was her daughter. That was my mama's youngest sister. Because my mom had two younger sisters. One I told you, her husband, we used to beat on her, and then the late baby, which one who lived with us. But anyway, she got pregnant. She got pregnant. She got pregnant. Um, and and we kept it a secret for a long time. My grandmama did not know that she was pregnant. Um, yeah, maybe I'll do a TikTok on why she was pregnant. Maybe I'll do it anyway, but I'm gonna tell you guys. She got pregnant by this guy that lived next door to us. And um yeah, she got pregnant by him. And my grandmama didn't know she was pregnant until maybe a month before she gave birth. Um, that was some tension. That was some times because just me, I'm scared of my grandmama. My aunt, she's scared of her, but not so much. But she's pregnant. She's young. You when back in the day, girls got pregnant. Girls still got whoopings while they was pregnant. That's what people don't understand. You got pregnant. Some girls still got whoopings, and yeah, um, because it wasn't gonna be no aborting the baby and stuff like that. But anyway, so my aunt was scared to tell my grandmama, and I certainly wasn't gonna tell her. I don't want gonna tell her Jack nothing. And so I remember sitting at the dinner table one time because when we ate dinner, we all had to come down and eat dinner at the dinner table. And she didn't sit at the dinner table. The people who sat at the dinner table was me, my uncle, my aunt, and my grandmother. I sat at the dinner table, and I remember my aunt, she had a rash and she was itching all over. And so my grandmama, I don't know, she put something on her. I don't know what it was, but I remember her rubbing it on her. We sitting at the dinner table. I'm sorry, I'm not looking at them. We sitting at the dinner table. Hold on. My grandmama rubbing her like she's sitting down in the chair. She's sitting down in the chair, and her belly is big because I've seen her belly. It's big, and she's sitting down at the table, and my grandmama rubbing the stuff on her and all that kind of stuff, rubbing it on her back, on her shoulder, all that kind of stuff. And my aunt is kind of tucked a little bit. She kind of tucking it in a little bit. So, and then, because the table is right here, so she's tucking a little bit. And we're at the dinner table. So my grandma put it on. Why she put it on at the dinner table, she did. And we all, eyes bucked. Because by that time, we had let my uncle know that she was pregnant. We had let him know. And everybody sitting at the table like, oh my God, the shit finna hit the fan. But it didn't. For some reason, she didn't find out. But I get that must have scared him because eventually he told her. He told her that she was pregnant, and guess who she blamed? She blamed me. I'm the ringleader. I was still a virgin, other than the fact that I had been molested. But I probably wouldn't consider that technically a virgin. But I had been molested, but I hadn't been with a boy consent. Like making my own choice to be with a boy because I wasn't ready for that, even though I had been molested. The only thing that I did with a boy was kiss, and probably shouldn't have been doing that. But anyway, yeah, she was pregnant, and my uncle told my grandmama, and my grandmama blamed me. And after my aunt had the baby and stuff like that, to this day, my little cousin, her baby is like one of my best friends, even though I'm 15 years older than her. She like a little sister to me. Um, and to this day, her and her mom don't even get along. They don't. I mean, when she was little, her and the grandmother who was abusive to me, they had something because my grandmother had started to get even older, and I don't know, she started to reflect. She just didn't want to be that way no more. But anyway, my little cousin was born. But anyway, I ended up leaving home at 15 because after my aunt had the baby, my grandma, her behavior towards me just got worse. And that's when I got the scratches and the scratches on my face and all that kind of stuff. And it just got worse. I just remember one time what happened was I used to like cereal. And and two, I didn't like going down to I had started not like going down to the dinner table to eat dinner because I felt like if you ate and came down there, that was a guaranteed cussing out. So I figured if I stay in my room, maybe I won't get that. But then she think you don't want to wash dishes, and it ain't that. It's just you don't want to come down there and get cussed out. But anyway, so I went eat a lot, and I went eat a lot. And then at the time, I think I was running like practicing for track. I never ran not one meet. I would practice at track because I wanted to be away from home. But because I had anxiety, I never ran a meet. But anyway, but I would practice, and then when I would come home and I wasn't eating much, so I was getting really skinny. And so I remember sneaking some cereal. Her and my aunt had went walking somewhere, and the baby was there, and I was kind of watching the baby. And but I was eating some cereal too. I snuck some cereal, and I went back up to my room and I was looking at TV because we couldn't eat in our rooms and nothing like that. That was like a no. You can't eat in your room. But anyway, I took the cereal back up and I was eating it in my room. But I heard them coming, and so I ran back downstairs and tried to put everything away. And I left my bowl on top of the refrigerator. And I know that, I mean, I don't know, we were like, why you tell me all this? But it adds to the story. Um, Left the bowl on the refrigerator, and she found it. And she went ballistic because, that's stealing food. I'm a thief. You a thief. You stealing food. You stealing food. You're stealing food. Because, mind you, I had a history in my family. I stole some money one time when I was a little kid out of my grandmother's um, coat. Because every day when I would go to school, I would check her pockets, get change out, and stuff like that. And it had never been a problem. I had been doing that for years. Like, go down there and get some change out, go to school, buy my little paper. Because, back in the day in the office, they used to sell like supplies and stuff like that. And I used to want to be a kid. I wanted to buy my supplies too because, we was poor. I never got to do a lot of stuff like that. So, but I got to sometimes buy supplies if I could clip her. But I would only take like quarters because things wasn't expensive back then. So I would take like quarters, like 15 cents because like I think like we would have these composition books and they were like 15 cents or something like that. I can't remember. Things were very, very cheap back then. But anyway, I did that, and one time she had some bills in there. And instead of me just getting the little quarters, I had a 50. I had like $50, not a $50 bill, but like $50. And so when I got to school, I'm showing my friends like I'm like, I got money like that. We all living in the projects. Nobody got money. But some kids dress better than the others, and like I said, because my grandma was born in 1899. She probably was always like a somebody's housekeeper in their house or something like that. So she didn't have a lot of money, and that's how we ended up in the projects anyway. Because once my mama died, I didn't have a daddy, and she wasn't of working age anymore. We ended up in the projects because the house we lived in flooded out. But but anyway, yeah, man, I be rambling and I lost my train of thought. But anyway, I don't know where I was at. But let's get to the part. I end up having to leave home at 15. I end up living with my aunt. The one I said that would live with us sometimes. I end up living with her, but that aunt, she had no boundaries. No, no good boundaries for children. Not that I was like looking for them, but when I look back at it, she had no good boundaries for children. It's like when I went to her house, I could do whatever I want to. So that's when I had sex for the first time, consensual with a boy, and and that was a whole trip because she caught me the first time because I was on her couch and thought she was asleep. And she's like, "You get your hot self up." So nothing ever happened. That nothing didn't happen that night because she caught me. But then later on, it happened, and yeah. But anyway, so because I think even if she would have had like more something, that I would have held off from that. But I was already had been exposed to sex by because I was molested and stuff like that. So with no supervision, a boy, feelings, all that, and it happened. But anyway, so that boy, he would just practice. That's how he was. He was practice because I wasn't really into him like that. Um, yeah. But anyway, I did meet a boy, and he was older than me. He was like 20, 21, something like that, and I was 15. And I end up dating him, liking him for 3 years, moved in with him. And not my great grandmama, my grandmama tried to go to the juvenile court to get me to come back home, but I knew I wasn't going back there. I knew I wasn't. I don't know. I don't care what lies I had to tell, but I wasn't going back there. But anyway, she showed up because his mama got custody of me. The boy I'm dating, his mom got custody of me. I'm gonna tell you, this is a whole dysfunctional mess. Got custody of me. Um, and I didn't understand what that is, what that meant. But anyway, she got custody of me. My grandmama showed up at the courthouse. So in instances like that, I'm thinking she must care, you know what I'm saying? But she just crazy. But she showed up at the court drunk, drunk. When I say drunk, drunk. So that was a no brainer. I never went back to live with her. And but my journey had just started. But so I'm living with them, and I thought he was a nice guy, but he was not. He was not. I mean, he used to beat on me, made me have sex when I didn't want to. Um, oh, I went in the house with his mama, and I truly think his mama might have been getting government assistance for me. That's what I think. She might have been getting government assistance for me. Um, and I didn't know it. If she was, I didn't see none of it. Did I eat at her house? Yeah, of course I ate at her house. But I was always feeling like I was like, you know, in a way being, I don't know, just being in a way, being a burden, stuff like that. So the room me and him had, I would stay in that room a lot. I would stay in that room a lot because I'm going to tell you because the truth is because how sheltered I was with my great grandmother, my social skills were kind of off. And I didn't know how to really talk to people, open up to people, and do stuff like that. And I thought he would be a person that I could bond with, but no, that was all about control. I was a little girl, and he was controlling that, and it was weird. It was crazy. I actually had to escape him. Um, and the thing is, I escaped him a few times, and then I went back because it was like I didn't have nowhere to go. And I went back. So the abuse would get more and more because it was like he knew I would run. And he was trying to put it in me, like, if you run that, you know, and I catch you, it's gonna be worse. And I remember I used to work at this place. It was like a chicken place, where they process chicken. And I used to like be this little person who spray the floor down, and then I would relieve people for breaks and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, I was working over there because I was trying to get away from him. I had turned 18 that year, and I was trying to get away from him. I had a job because, okay, we had moved in together and all that kind of stuff. It didn't work out because he didn't keep a job and all that kind of stuff. And these was efficiency apartments, and the first one we stayed in was like $65 a week. And then I moved out from that one because I had to get away from it. Then I went moved around the corner, found another place. It was $35 a week, and it was a decent little place. But my front door was a bedroom door. But the people that lived within that house, that building, they was pretty good. But anyway, but because I was afraid, I ended up letting him move into that place. But then it just got volatile. It just was crazy. Now I'm not even in his mama house, none of that stuff, and he just laying into me. And and the thing about it, he never hit me where I had black eyes or nothing like that. It was like choking. It was like smacking. Um, I remember one time he hit me with his fist, and I could see stars, and I saw stars. But anyway, but yeah, and so I escaped him. But he tried to burn down my house. At least he poured gas around her house. I wasn't there. I was living with somebody else by the end. I'm just trying to run through this real quick to let you know that was crazy. That was abusive. And then once I escaped him, I was on my own for about a year, 2 years, something like that. But I was staying with people, not on my own, because now I'm so disorganized that I can't figure out what to do. I couldn't figure out what to do. And so I stayed with these people for a little while. But you can only stay with people for so long, then people get tired of that. But then I remember going back out to the projects that I grew up in, and I caught up with the aunt that I was telling you that was 2 years older than me, and um who was in the house with me. But anyway, me and her connected back. And then she was letting me know that my great grandma was getting put out of that house, and they was going to put her in a nursing home and stuff like that. And the reason she was getting put out because me and her was supposed to be the only ones on the lease. But when I ran away, um, like when I was around, I got a job. Just put it like this: I had got a job, and you're supposed to report that stuff, and they never took me off that lease. So by that time, they was putting her out. But the truth is, they was actually just putting my grandma out because my great grandma, she went to a nursing home because of the dementia and stuff like that. And but yeah, and I remember going over there seeing my grandma, and we still never mended fences. I remember the last time I saw her, me and my husband went back home to visit, and I went because I wanted to see her because I like for some reason that was my grandmother, that was my mother's mother, and we should be connected. We didn't bond, but it was something that I had for her. And I went to see her, and I guess I wanted her to see me with my husband, and like he's a good guy. I'm turning out to be okay and all that kind of stuff. And I wanted her to see that. But anyway, that was the last time that I saw her. The next time I saw her, it was at her funeral. Um, but yeah, she died like a horrible death with cancer. Because I don't even think she even opted for chemo. I don't even know, because she died because of cirrhosis of the liver and so many other things she probably had. But anyway, but I'm saying that to say this. When I met my husband, I was a hot mess. I was a hot mess. And then he also had his stuff. And so I wanted to be with somebody who that can see that I was hurt and I was in pain. And it wasn't for me not telling him that, because I was telling him my story. And it was coming with emotions and all that kind of stuff. And what I realized now, I didn't realize it then, but what I realize now, my husband couldn't handle all those emotions. Because he had been raised in a house where he wasn't abused like that to that extent, but he was around a lot of men that didn't know how to be men to boys. He was around a lot of aggressive women. Um, he was around, people who couldn't, that wouldn't allow him to be in touch with his, gentle side as a kid. I mean, I understand that you grow and you get this about you, but even when you small as a kid, they don't even let you get in touch with that. Or back in the day, they wouldn't. But anyway, so he had all that going on. So when we met, I had my trauma, he had his, and but I didn't know that, and nor did he. But I was trying to connect with him, do all that kind of stuff with him. But I think my emotions were just too much because by that time I thought I had found me a good person. All that. Not that he's not good, he is a good person. But a person that could get me and stuff like that. And I leaned into him with those emotions and he pulled back. And that felt like rejection. But I didn't understand that at the time. And we went years like this, not understanding, getting into arguments, all that kind of stuff. Just not trying to. He thinking I'm not doing my best, like housework, um, um, like working because working had become a thing for me, like hard for me. And when I look back at it, I know it was social anxiety. And um, And then in the beginning, I could feel he wanted me to get a job and all that kind of stuff. But like at one time, I got a job at a gas station. The other gas station got around. I'm like, nope, I cannot work here because I'm scary like that. I guess people look at you and think, oh, okay, like she tough. No, this is like I am tough now because life has made me tough. Well, not let me say tough, but strong mentally because life has made me that way. But when I was younger, I was like soft, very soft. I didn't like confrontation. I still don't like confrontation, but if it comes from me, it is what it is. But I didn't like confrontation, nothing like that. So when I heard a gas station got robbed down the street, I was thinking they're gonna be working their way up here, and I cannot do that, and I can't do it. So I ended up quitting that job, and that made him frustrated, and then ended up getting another job. And I'll tell you later what happened with that job. But anyway, it was just little spirals that I started to do, which affected our relationship. And and I'm assuming because that was happening, he was withholding affection from me. Not because of that, but because my emotion was too much for him. He pulled away even more, and it made me even more like all over the place and stuff like that. We did this back and forth for years. And it's only when I discovered YouTube, and not even when I discovered YouTube, it was like, this was 10 years after I discovered YouTube, that I learned about the whole avoidant, anxious, anxiety type thing. And I realized I was the anxious one and he was the avoidant. And so I'm saying that to say this. People talk about the traditional wife and stuff like that. Yeah, that stuff is hard. I ain't gonna sugarcoat that. But if hold on, my throat got something in my throat. If you and your partner come from good backgrounds and y'all are secure people and y'all can actually develop a bond, I think it's beautiful. I think it's beautiful working together like that. But if you get in a relationship and he got with you because you just look good and you got with him because he got a job and he cute, that's the wrong reason to get with people. It is. Unless you're that type of person, you're like, I can do this. I mean, I don't need that deep bond to be with a person and stuff like that. Do it. But for a lot of people, if you're like more sensitive and you need that person that you with to lean into you so you can lean into them, pay attention to stuff like that. Because what happens is, when you're young, what happens is, because of the horniness, all that kind of stuff, you don't see what's happening. You feel it, you know something ain't right, but you going. I'm looking at my thing because the battery came up, said my power's low. But then it comes a time where that stuff goes away. And it's like, what's really left? And if you don't know how to rekindle that, then that's going to be hard. In your old age, that's going to be hard. But if you can rekindle that, that's a good thing. But yeah, being a traditional wife for some is not an easy path. For others I've seen, I mean, they did it with no problem. They did it with no problem. But I think the key to it, too, is don't be in a rush. Become friends with your mate. Become friends with them first. Don't get in the relationship first and then try to develop the friendship in the relationship. Some people can do that. I'm telling you, some people can do that, but not everybody. Let court each other. Do that. And be honest. Be honest with the person and be like, you want a marriage, you want a relationship, you want a closeness, but you want to date to see, what's going on and stuff like that. Because some people can come in your life and do that whole love bomb, and you're like, ooh, is it? Because I got a cousin right now that's going through that right now. She just realized her husband was a love bomber, but he also is a woman manipulator, that he talked to other women on the phone and all that kind of stuff. But, I'm not going to be so hard on him and stuff like that, because he young too. What he didn't realize is he didn't want to be in a relationship. He was thinking he wanted to be in a relationship, but he don't want to be in a relationship. And he needs to come to terms with that and stuff like that. But anyway, and girls, don't force nobody into no relationship that don't want to be in a relationship, because that's just going to end up bad in the future. Then especially if you have kids and stuff and they didn't want to be in a relationship anyway, y'all ain't going to be on the same page with the parenting of the kids. It's going to be a lot. So my advice to you, oh my God, my advice to you is to find love, real love, real love. Look, guys, one day I'm for a facelift, and I'm ready to do that. But anyway, but no, I'm just playing with you. But find real love, and real love to me is a person who gets you, and you get them. I mean, like your emotions, like melt into each other. But and that don't mean like a weak person or nothing like that. It's like it's different when you find somebody who who compliments you, who when you see them you smile and they smile back. That right there is magnetic. When you have that person, when you show up in a room and they start smiling when they see you, and then you smile back, that's amazing. And when that can last like that, that's amazing. So find somebody that makes you smile and you make them smile, because that's important. Oh, and also kissing. I don't know about you, but I prefer kissing over anything. Like the person that gets me is like would know, like if I was younger, would know that kissing is a big deal to me, because that's a level of closeness that you have with a person that you don't get that with everybody, because like everybody you date, you don't want to kiss them. You know what I'm saying? I like not mean, because yeah, like some people, like when you was with them, you could smell their breath. Like, nah, I ain't kissing them. Or like, I don't kiss somebody and their tongue feel funny. I don't kiss somebody where it seemed like the saliva in their mouth was it was too much. And I don't kiss somebody where they was kissing me like their lips was like bird lips and stuff like that. Yeah, that was one. But when you find that kiss that's just right, it's like you don't smell their breath. It's just it's just it's just it's just a it's just in rhythm. So find that person. Okay, let me go. because it is 1 hour and I didn't try to make it last this long. All right, bye guys.